Hey guys, welcome to another week of Lost and Found. I hope that you have had a great night so far. And tonight we're continuing our series on parables that Jesus told about things that were lost and then got found. So it got me thinking. I love a good lost and found section, okay? I love going through the lost and found. Maybe this sounds creepy, but seeing what's in there, seeing if there's anything of value that maybe someone else threw away. So got me thinking, like, what kind of things could you find in a lost and found? So I have a lost and found bucket of things that I think we most commonly find in the lost and found. So first of all, ball to the foosball table here in the bunker. That is something that gets lost quite often and should be found. Disclaimer, this is not actually the ball. I know you'd be really happy if I did find it. This is just a ping pong ball, which we're gonna have to use till we actually find the ball that's lost. Elastics. Okay, so ladies or guys with long hair, how often do you feel like you have an elastic band for your hair and all of a sudden it goes missing and you have like none left? Those get lost all the time. Socks, usually just that one sock in the laundry that you're like, I had a pair of socks when I put them in the laundry and now I don't have a pair of socks. Those get lost all the time. Batteries. I don't know how many times that I've been looking for a battery for a remote or for something and I just can't find any batteries. They always seem to be lost, although we need them all the time. Have you ever found something awesome that someone else threw away? And what was it? Whether or not something is valuable is often a matter of opinion, right? Which is better, dogs or cats? Raise your hands maybe. Tell us, which one's better? Dogs or cats? Look around. Some people are saying dogs, some people are saying cats. If I asked you which is better, the book or the movie? Some people would say the book, some people would say the movie, some people would say it depends on what it is. If it's Harry Potter, it's definitely the books. It got me thinking about how we ascribe value to people. Like, just how valuable am I? And just how valuable are you? I thought that I would try and calculate my own value to illustrate this point. So I've drawn a picture of myself here. Okay, there's me. And I want to know about myself, like, what am I worth? So clearly I can't draw super well. So I'm going to give myself 50 cents for drawing. Pretty good at, like, you know, being friends with people and that sort of thing. So I'm going to say that I'm like, maybe like $5 worth of like good friendship. You know, I have like a decently good sense of humor. It's not like, I'm not like the funniest person ever, but I can make some people laugh. So I'm gonna give myself like $2 for my sense of humor. I'm not really that athletic, and it seems like being athletic is a big deal. So I'm gonna give myself minus $1 for that. I like to walk and sometimes run, and that's basically it. My own appearance, I'm not like, you know, terrible to look at, but maybe I don't look like some of the people that I see on Instagram, so I'm gonna give myself like maybe another solid $2 for that. Think about like my job, like, you know, I'm at a really great church and I love what I do. $3 for my job. That would bring our total to, who's good at math? $11.50. All right, that is how much I am worth, right? No, of course not. Basing my worth, calculating it like that would be totally ridiculous, right? But sometimes, honestly, this is how we calculate what we're worth or what other people are worth. We think about, oh, who has the most possessions? People who have the most material things obviously are worth more. You might be thinking or talking about the guy who owns Amazon and how much he's worth because he has so much money. Be thinking about your own abilities and putting your worth in that. Like, I actually am really good at sports, or I'm really good at drama, or I'm really good at school, or I'm really, really good at like debate team or science. And because I'm good at those things, that's where I find my value and that's where I find my worth. People find their worth in things like their characteristics, right? Their sense of humor or their appearance or their popularity. If you're an influencer on TikTok or on Instagram, people find their worth that way, by how many followers they have. And really what they're doing is they're promoting themselves and their own personality and finding their worth in that. And often we actually calculate our worth or our value based on personal opinion. And we calculate other people's worth and value based on our own personal opinions. So we can look at someone and say, oh, they're valuable because they can do A, B, or C, or they have A, B, or C, or that person's not as valuable because they don't have as much, or maybe they're not as attractive, or maybe they can't do this skill. So today we're going to be talking about how people are valuable to God and how we are totally beyond crazy valuable and we are worth so much in God's eyes. But that leads me to my next question, which is this. What are some reasons why someone might not feel valuable to God or to others? So you remember in this series, we are looking at parables, stories that Jesus told to try and prove a point. And we're spending all our time in just one chapter of the Bible, Luke 15. We're going to continue and read Luke 15 verses 8 to 10. And we need to remember that Jesus was telling these stories because the Pharisees were criticizing him and saying, man, Jesus just hangs out with people who aren't worth anything, sinners, people who do wrong things. And they were looking at people in the wrong way. They were looking at people and ascribing their worth based on how little they had or that they weren't following the rules. And Jesus needed to prove a point. So you remember last week he told the story about the lost sheep. And this week, he's going to tell this story that helps to remind the Pharisees how we can decide what people are worth. Imagine a woman who has 10 coins and loses one. Won't she light a lamp and scour the house, looking in every nook and cranny until she finds it? And when she finds it, you can be sure she'll call her friends and neighbors. Celebrate with me, I found my lost coin. Count on it. That's the kind of party God's angels throw every time one lost soul turns to God. In this story, this woman has 10 coins and she loses one, and she totally tears the house apart looking for it. And you might be thinking, well, what's the big deal? She had 10 coins, she lost one, but she still has 9 more coins. But the thing is, in that time, one coin was worth a whole day's worth of work. So she would be losing a whole day's salary by losing that coin. So you can see why she tore the house apart looking for it and why she was so excited when she found it. And just like our story last week, when the shepherd rejoiced when he found his lost sheep, this woman rejoiced when she found her lost coin. There's always a celebration in these parables when something that was lost gets found. So the point that this parable is trying to make is that anytime something is lost, that's of value, there's reason to celebrate when it gets found. And for those of us who feel like we may be wandering or who may be lost, when we come back to that point where we feel like we've been found by God again, or we know that we're in a closer relationship with God again, there's major celebrating. If you feel like you're lost or you're wandering right now, just be conscious of the fact that Jesus is tearing the house apart to find you. If we ever fall away, he is tearing apart the house, anxiously looking for us to make sure that we get found again. And when anyone gets found, there's great celebration. Jesus is so excited when people come back and when they are found by him. Pharisees were really convinced that the people that Jesus was hanging out with were less valuable because they didn't follow the rules as well, they didn't have as much stuff, they weren't as popular, they weren't as accepted in society. But this story tells us that everyone is of value to God. No matter who you are, what you look like, what your talents are, how much stuff you have, everyone is equally valuable to God. That's pretty cool. You and I need that reminder too, right? Just like the woman who found her lost coin and celebrated because she valued it so much, Jesus values you. And he even values the people that we find it hard to value in life. So right now we're going to pause and ask another question, and this is what it is. First, I want you to read Romans 8:38 to 39. And then I want you to talk about this question. Is it ever difficult for you to believe that God won't stop loving someone? Why or why not? So finally, let's talk about how this story, this parable might be a challenge for us this week. Not that it's challenging to understand, but what can we be challenged to think about or to do this week? Do you maybe feel like you need to let God find you? Like you've been lost or like you've been wandering? Just like in today's story, God is relentlessly chasing after you, even if you've wandered away from him. Maybe today is the day that you say, God, I want to be found. I want to be closer to you again. Maybe the challenge is for you today because you're feeling today a little worthless. You feel like that one sock that gets lost in the washing machine and you can never find it again. Maybe you question your worth. Maybe you've been basing your worth on things like how you look or your talents or how smart you are or how many friends you have, and maybe you always are just feeling like you're coming up short. If so, maybe you can ask God today to help him to show you what your value truly is and how much he celebrates just to know you and to be with you, that your worth is infinite and it is beyond measure how much Jesus loves you, and that nothing you can do can stop him from loving you. Maybe your challenge today is about how you value or how you see others. Maybe you hear this story today and you're more like the Pharisees and you're realizing like, wow, you know what? I've been looking around and I've been treating other people differently based on how I think they should be valued or what I think their worth is. But from this story, you've been reminded that everyone is valued and worthy in God's eyes. Maybe for you then, if you can think of someone in your life who you've been devaluing, you can do something this week to show them that they are valuable. We might be tempted to forget this truth, that Jesus loves us and values us no matter what we do, no matter what we look like, no matter who we are. So what I'd love for you to do is, somewhere where you're gonna see it, create a little card and say, Jesus values me, and put it maybe on your mirror, put it on your fridge, put it on your dresser or by your bed so that when you wake up or you go to sleep, you are reminded of that truth, that Jesus values you. And then we're all gonna have times this week where we're tempted to devalue other people or look at other people as if they're worth less. So create another little card that says Jesus values them, and put that somewhere where you're going to see it to remind you to treat other people with the worth and the value that God gives to them. So we're going to end with one more question today to talk about, and the question is this. Do you think you ever calculate your value based on the wrong things? And give an example. Then we can pray together that God would help us not to base our value on those things, but that we would base our value on the fact that we are so loved and cherished by him, and that he celebrates just to find us and to be with us. Have a great week, guys, and I'll see you next week.